Okay, so good evening. My name is Sam and I am the Design Director for Climate Code. Today I'll be conducting the workshop Discord Bot Programming Basics in Python Part 2. We're just going to be delving into more advanced topics in building a Discord bot while learning the foundations of Discord PY. Watching the pre-event workshop on Discord bot programming is recommended, but if you didn't watch Part 2, that is completely okay. I will be reviewing some of the topics discussed in Part 1, but it just will be at somewhat of a quicker pace. So you don't need a lot of knowledge of Python itself, as the programming language we will use is actually slightly altered for Discord. And by the end of this workshop, you should be able to have a bot that can send messages, react to commands, use embeds and buttons, and several other interesting features. So I'm just going to go over our agenda for today. So instead of going over a Python setup, we're going to teach you how to make a Discord bot actually setting up in the Discord applications page, as well as an overview of how to actually set up everything and connect all of it. And then we'll go over some of the event functions, and as well as using messages and reactions to interact with the user. Then we'll go over embeds and command functions, buttons, as well as something to tie everything together. Then we'll add some extra features, as well as a way to keep your bot alive for a longer period of time, and any initial questions you guys may have. And then looking ahead, we'll just go over some resources for you guys. So first, if I can create, I just want to ask if you guys want to say in the chat whether you guys have seen or whether you watched the part 1 of this workshop. Okay, most of you said that this was your first time. That's completely okay. We're actually going to be creating a new Discord bot, so that'll be a bit easier for you guys to understand. So just before we go into it, I'm just going to show you guys what we're going to be going over. So first we'll create a bot actually through Discord. Then we're going to go onto an online IDE and add our packages so that we can actually use the Discord kind of programming features. Then we'll connect our bot using a token, and then we'll add the bot variable and adjust preferences so that we can give our bot a prefix. And then we'll actually create the commands for our bot. So first, I'm just going to go onto the Discord developer portal. And if you guys can't find it, I'll also be sending it to the chat. Okay, so once you're on this page, click New Application on the right. And then we're just going to write this. Since it's part 2 of the workshop, we're going to write Discord bot part 2. We'll press create. And then you'll see here you have several tabs to go through. You'll notice that there's the specific one, go to OAuth 2 tab. And then now we have this kind of scopes. And this scope is where you'll be able to choose what kind of application your bot is. So click here to bot. And then you'll scroll down and you'll see these bot permissions. So these bot permissions will be what the bot will be able to get. If you've ever invited a bot to a server before, this is basically how you get to decide what it has to do. So I'll just put send messages, view channels, embed links, attach files, read message history, and I guess as well mention everyone if it has to. And then now I'm just going to move my screen share a bit and then click this section here and press copy. Now we're going to open a new tab, paste that. That's strange. Oh, okay. And make sure you add bot as well. And then now you can just copy, set up everything again. So once again, just copy paste. And you'll see here you have an add to server section. So press select a server, and I'm going to add it to the XdHacks Mini Vancouver server. Continue, and of course, just click the ones you want. And then of course, authorize. All right, so let's go back to your Discord server. I'm just going to give it permissions to speak in here. So I'll be actually putting all of the results of my code in the bot testing channel if you guys want to see it. So let's add our Discord bot part 2, new channel, and send messages. Okay, so it should be able to go here now. And then now we're going to actually set up the REPL. So REPL is an online IDE, and it'll be what we're using to code our Discord bot. So if you don't have an account, I'll just paste the link for that. So that way you'll be able to create an account. And once you've signed in, go to here to the home page of your REPL, go to top left, click new REPL, and then for languages, we're just going to select Python. And then now I'm going to write Discord bot part 2. Then press create. So one disclaimer, some of the code we write today may be altered, especially with updates going on of different packages we are going to use. Additionally, stopping and running your REPL many times will actually cause it to sometimes delay or stop running for a little while. And if this happens anytime during our workshop, I'll just explain the code quickly, but I won't be able to run it in Discord. So now that we've opened our REPL, and then we're going to import all the packages that we need. And this is because Python itself does not actually have any Discord kind of modules. So the typical thing we're going to write is import. So import Discord, enter, import OS, as well as from discord.ext, import commands, and then import async IO, and import random. And this import random is just because you might want to use it later on, which is a feature we're going to show later. So first, let's press run. And this will load all the packages you can see, and we'll have this packager file. Now we're going to connect our bot to our REPL fully using the token. So this token is basically your password, so you want to make sure you don't share it to anybody. So go back to the Discord developer portal. And instead of going to OAuth2 tab, go to bot, go to the top and click here. Can you zoom, please, on what you write? Okay, sure, one second. I'll just zoom this page. Is this better? Bit better? Okay. And then now that we're here on our bot, click copy token and go back to REPL. And then now you'll see here there are several icons. We're going to go to secrets, and you'll see there's a key and a value. So this key is what you'll use in your main code, and the value is the actual kind of token or password of your bot. So we're going to call it token. And in here, you would paste the value. So I'll just top my screen share temporarily because it is a kind of password sort of thing, but you just press it here and add new secret. Okay, so I've just pasted in my token, and you can see now there is this token kind of secret. Back to files. And then there's one more thing we need to fully connect our bot. So we'll go to the very bottom, type bot run, in the parentheses, and inside this type os.get env, and then once again, another parentheses. And then in quotations, type in token, or whatever you wrote for your secret key. Let's enter, so there's room. And now we're going to select the kind of variable we're going to call in our bot during our code, as well as the prefix for it. So we're going to write bot because that will be the name. You can change this to whatever you like client or any other name you'd like to give it. So I'm going to type commands.bot command underscore prefix equals and then quotations. This is where you'll write your prefix. I'm doing $, but you can put whatever you like. And then one more thing I want to add, because sometimes people might write it in different cases, we're going to write case underscore insensitive equals true. And do make sure your T is a capital T, because with Python, it actually recognizes it differently than just the word true. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to add. Discord actually includes this special help command for you from these packages. So to remove that, type bot dot remove underscore command. However, for me, I don't actually think this is super necessity, so I'll just delete that for now. Okay, so now we're going to do the functions. So we have two options, which is bot event, which works based on events. And usually these are a bit less known to the users. And then we have bot command, which works based on commands that you create, which is more similar to like the ones that you might see with very typical bots on Discord. You can find a list of all of the functions that you can use in the actual documentation, which I'll be sharing later. So first, we're going to start with the onReady function, and we'll set this to send a message to our console here once the bot is online. So type at bot.event, and then we're going to write async def, and this means to define the function. So we'll write on_ready, and then parentheses in here, just leave that blank. Then we're going to have the console print something once the bot is up. So print actually will only go to the console and not to Discord, but this is just for us, so it's okay. I am online. And let's press run. And then after a little bit, you'll be able to see this thing that says I am online right here. Okay, and now we're going to go to another function, which is the onMessage function. So once again, press enter, bot event. Then we'll go to enter, async def. And instead of onReady, we're going to write onMessage. And inside the parentheses, rather than keeping it blank, we'll write message because we are looking for the message sent by the user. And now we have to just make sure that the bot doesn't start responding to itself. So we write if message.author equals bot equals bot.user return. So this double equal sign will check for kind of whether these two things are the same, and return will just say that nothing needs to happen. Now I'm going to show you how to make a conversation-like message, one that has the chat bouncing back and forth between the user and the bot. So we're going to do a simple kind of greeting message. So first we'll type elif, and basically if the user pings or mentions the bot, we will greet them. So if bot user dot mention underscore in message, and then we're going to press enter. And now let's type await message channel send, and then parentheses, hi, how is the, and above this, because we will actually need to check on the channel messaging later on, write channel equals message.channel. Now let's press enter again so it's a bit cleaner. Now we're going to send a nice message back after the user responds. So this will be done using something called the wait for function, and as well as define check. So we're going to write the check message. Basically, it's going to check for the message content and whether the channels are the same. So we're going to write return message dot content and message channel equals channel. And basically, that's enter and make sure you are under the same section here. Now we're going to use something slightly different of a conditional from elif and if, which is called try and except. Basically, try will check for an error, and if the error or the exception occurs, we're going to write a different action. In this case, the error would be if there was a timeout, because the user may not respond fully after a certain amount of time, so we want to make sure that the bot will still say something after that. So we'll write try. And under this, we're going to write message equals await bot dot wait for, and this is the wait for function in action. In quotations, write message, then comma, time out. And this timeout is going to be the amount of time that your bot will wait for a response. So we'll write 20 because I believe 20 seconds should be fine. And then we're also going to write one more thing. We're going to write check equals check, just to make sure that they were under the same channel. And then go out of that. Then we're going to write accept async io.timeout error. Basically, oh, I don't know why I deleted that. Basically, this means that if the timeout goes past 20 seconds, then we're going to do something else. So I'll write await message.channel send. And in here, I'm going to say oh, because we will assume that the user probably has left. I'm going to write else. And then in here, we're actually going to use this kind of message section. So we'll write await message.channel send. Then here we'll write something called an F string. So an F string will be able to write what the user's message content said in our actual message, even if we don't know what it is yet. All right, I wonder how it feels to have, and in here, just write a squiggly bracket, and we're going to write message dot content dot lower dot strip. And then in here, we're going to use single quotations rather than double quotations. And this is because if you put quotations inside quotations, it can kind of get confusing for Python. But inside this string method, we're going to say what we don't want to be in the message content when we send it again. So we'll put dot, question mark, slash, and exclamation mark, because I don't want there to be a random punctuation when the bot sends a message back. And then we'll write weather, because I wonder how it feels to have whatever the user said and then weather. It's mostly cool. And then as well, type dot format, and then parentheses, another one, write MSG for message. Okay, so now we're going to try that out. So press stop, and then press run again. Okay, so let's go to our bot testing. Let's double check that it is online. There it is. So I'm going to at the bot. So it's Discord bot part 2. You can see him ask me how's the weather. I will say good with exclamation marks. And it says, I wonder how it feels to have good weather. It's mostly cool here. And let's try this again to show you what it does if there's no response. And you can see after 20 seconds, it says, oh, bye then. Okay, now we're going to do the same kind of thing, but with a reaction instead of a message. So let's go back to our REPL. Now we're going to say basically, we're going to be checking if the user has joined Climate Code. So under here, make sure you tap out. And then we're going to write first else. So if none of the above things existed. Now we're going to write 4 word in this square brackets. We're going to write a list. So first I'm going to write XdHacks Climate Code and Hackathon. So you can see here this is for words. So it's going to check for the same kind of code underneath this, and it'll just loop it. So we're going to write if the word, so if any of the words in here are in content.lower. You can see this is kind of similar to what I said before over here. Then we're going to write colon again, and then await message.channel.send. Hey, thumbs up if you registered for Climate Code. And then this basically will say that if any of the words were in the message the user sent, the bot will ask this to them. Now we're going to write define check again, but instead of message, we're going to write reaction, comma, user. And then we're going to write return user equals message dot author and string reaction emoji, string reaction dot emoji equals. And then in this, I'm just going to copy the emoji. It's a thumbs up emoji. And then once again, we'll do try reaction, comma, user, await bot dot wait underscore 4. And instead of message, once again, we're going to do reaction add. And then we're going to write, of course, timeout. And this time I'm just going to write 10 because I want it to be shorter. Comma, check. Now we're going to put, sorry, there's a bug in here, except io.timeout error message.channel.send, and then I'm going to write that's to join us at the next hackathon. And then once again, if the error doesn't occur, else await message channel. Send. Next, hope your okay. And this should set everything up. Stop. And then let's run again. Let's go here. And this should work. Let me type XdHacks. And it says thumbs up if you registered for Climate Code 2021. So I'll put thumbs up. And it says nice, hope you're having fun. Now let's try it again. So this time I'll write Climate Code. Now we'll give it 10 seconds. And it says, that's too bad, join us at the next hackathon, because I didn't give them the reaction emoji. Okay, so to summarize the event function, just check this. We have the onReady function, it says I am online, and then we have the full kind of reaction emoji, as well as the wait for function. So if you want to take a screenshot, go ahead. And now we're going to go over the command functions. So basically, unlike event, these are going to be the ones that require a prefix to be used. So let's go back here. And before you start your bot command functions, there's one key thing you need to do. So make sure you're only one tab in. You need to write await bot.process underscore commands message. And if you don't do this, your bot will actually not do both commands and events, and that will kind of cause a lot of problems. But now we can start with the commands function. So let's write at bot.command. And instead of leaving nothing here, write a parentheses, then async define info, because I'm going to make an info message. So let's write context instead of message, because we want to have more information about the user message. So I'm going to show you guys how to use embeds. Embeds are a fancier way to send messages rather than this await message channel send. Basically, they have several sections and even the option of using images. You might be familiar if you've used a lot of bots before. So to make an embed, write embed equals discord.embed with a capital E, and then press enter here. And inside here, we're going to write first title. And then for the title, I'm going to write info. And comma, description. Hopefully you can see this. Then I'm going to write, I am a bot with so many functions. And then one more thing, we're going to write the color, because if you're familiar with embeds, like you might see in here, you'll notice that there's this color here. So we want to add a color as well. There are many other colors, but I'll just be using purple because I like that color. And instead of just writing color the American way, we're going to actually use the UR. Okay, and then now we're going to add some extra features. So if you really wanted to, you could not include extra stuff like fields and just footers and images, but I'm just going to show you guys how to use it all in one. So we're going to write embed.add underscore field, and this will add another section to your embed. So let's write parentheses again. Parentheses. There shouldn't be two parentheses over here. And a bit similarly, but not perfectly the same, we're going to write name, and this will be the title of that specific section. So I'll write how to call me. And then in here, instead of description, we write value, use $sign as my prefix. And then one more thing, this is not necessarily needed, but if you don't want all of your kind of extra fields to be kind of set in a row or sorted out, and you just want one kind of section per line, write inline equals false for per row. Yeah. Inline basically just formats it. And then now we're going to add some extra details. So if you want a thumbnail, which will be on the top right of your embed, so set underscore thumbnail, and then write URL equals. And in here, I'm just going to copy paste an image, link, and there you can see it's there. And then we're also going to add a footer. So embed.set underscore footer text equals XdHacks Mini Vancouver. icon underscore URL because we also include an icon for your footer. I just want the same image. Okay, and now that we have the embed set, we have to tell the bot to send it. So even if you don't add all of this extra stuff, you will still need to write this last piece of code. So write await XdHacks.send embed equals embed. So stop, press run again to let it load. It says it's online, I believe. So let's try this again. So write info. And you can see here, we have the embed with an info title, description, name, value, icon URL, thumbnail, and footer. Okay, so now that we have the embed set, we're going to just do a little quick review of that. So if you wanted to send a simple command function, it would look like this, and the actual embed looks like this. Okay, so now we're going to go over a new feature Discord just added recently, which is buttons. So to install the buttons package, it's a bit more complicated, but I'll just be going through some of the features buttons have first. So you can see we're going to be using this library called Discord Components. Later on, you might find that Discord Components doesn't actually work anymore, and this could be because Discord PY, the official kind of Python Discord coding system, might have updated it, and this could have been offline already. But for now, we'll just be using this. So here we have the official Discord documentation for it. And you'll see we have primary, secondary, success, danger, and link. And you'll see these several values are numbered. So these values are going to be what defines the function and also the color. As you can see here, there are several different colors. Most of these will have a similar function except for these two. So a little note, just like I said before, Discord Components is an unofficial library, as Discord PY will be including buttons in version 2.0 of their update. So once the updates arrive, the code for buttons might change a little bit. Now let's go back here. We'll go to our replit. And then now we're going to add all the things we need to create a button. So we're going to actually have to add some new packages. So first we're going to write from Discord underscore components, import Discord components, button style, and interaction type. So this is actually case sensitive. So you do have to copy this exact kind of text. And also you'll have to go to the package tab, which it looks like a cube, press on that. And then we're going to search up Discord-components and press plus. And you can see in here it's installing. So let's just wait for that to load. And one more thing, on your unready function, press enter a line. And then we're going to write Discord components, and then inside that parentheses, bots. And this way we can actually use components. Okay, so now let's go down here. We're going to make a new command function for a link button. So let's go enter at command, parentheses, async define link, and CTX again, of course. XdHacks send, and in here, first we'll write, here's a link to our website. And then now we're going to put comma, and we'll add components equals square bracket. And in the square bracket is where we actually define what the button is and kind of what it does. So we're at button, and then parentheses, style equals, and this style actually fits the value from here. Go back there. So I'm going to use style equals 5 because if you notice in that documentation, style 5 was the link button. Then we're going to write label, and this will just be what the text is on the button. We're going to write copy, and then URL equals. So I'm just going to copy URL to our main page, and then parentheses, just fix that in. Okay, finally, to get the bot to actually wait for a button click, we're going to write await bot.wait underscore for button underscore click. So let's make sure to stop this, press enter. Okay, so let's just wait for this to load. Let's go here, link. And you can see here's a link to our website. Click me, let's press that. This will take you there. And you can see we actually have reached our XdHacks Mini Vancouver website. Now I'm going to show you how to use function buttons. You can use any style from 1 to 4, but I'll just use style 1 because I like the colorful. So let's do bot command again. simplify, and this will just be called button simply. And then now we're going to write await XdHacks.send again, and this will be actually a very similar format. So this is that button components equal for bracket. The main difference here will be style equals 1 label and not the label. But the main difference will be the style as well as the lack of a URL section. And if you want to, you can add an ID for your code, but I'm not going to add one for now. Let's press enter. And instead of just a wait for, we're actually going to write interaction equals because we want to react to the to if there's a button click. And now we're going to write await interaction respond. And content equals so basically, once the person presses the button, this message will come out. Let's press stop and rerun to just run it in. I'll go here and I'll write button. And it says this is button click me. And it says button clicked. Okay, so the key is this that the bot wait for has to become a variable or else it'll be a bit harder to kind of react to later on. So because we do have a bit of time left, I'm just going to show you how to tie everything together with a nicer kind of random guessing game feature. So you don't have to include this if you want to, but this is just to kind of help you get a kind of summary of it. So let's go bot command parentheses, define, and we're going to write numbers. Basically, what we're going to do is create a numbers game. And there will be 5 buttons and each have a different number. So the user will choose a number by clicking a button and the bot will randomly select one and tell the user whether the number chosen was the winning one. So to make it pretty, let's make an embed, discord.embed. Just giving it a title. I'm just going to add embed.set_footer text equals Vancouver. And then hopefully it should be the same. Oh, it's not. Just use whatever image you'd like. You don't actually have to include this. I just want to make it look a little nicer. Now I'll write await XdHacks.send first, embed equals embed. And then now to include the buttons, components equals. And in here, we're actually going to have several buttons instead of just one. And now we're actually going to use the ID thing. So we're going to write style equals 1, equals 1. And then ID equals. So this ID is for us to call the code. And I'll put the word 1. And then now we're going to write comma. And I'm just going to paste this because we'll be using a very similar format for every other one. So let's write 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're going to go, let's see. Now that we have back, press enter to go out of it. And then now we're going to create a number list. So just like with the list before, we're going to have a set of different objects so that the bot can choose one. And now you'll notice that I'm going to be using the same words as the ID. And this is going to be very important to check whether or not the number was winning. 4 and 5. Okay, so now let's go to number. We're going to make a new variable called number choice. And it's going to be random. So this is where the random package from above will be coming in. I'm going to write random.choice, and this means to randomly select an object from And then you'll notice we're going to write number list. So I'm just telling the bot to randomly choose a number from this list using the random package. And then once again, write interaction equals await bot dot wait underscore 4 button underscore click. And now we're going to write an if statement because sometimes it might not be the same thing. So if interaction component dot ID, and this basically says if the button ID, because then we'll click a certain button, equals number choice. So if the button chosen has the same ID as the selected number, we're going to write another embed title equals one, and then comma description equals, and then I actually want to put an F string because I want to say what the winning number was. So the winning number was number underscore choice, so that we can use a variable and something. Congratulations. And then now I'm going to actually copy the footer and icon URL from here just for consistency. And then we're going to paste this here. And of course, don't forget the color. Purple. You can actually search up the other colors that exist with this. And you can also use, like, I believe hexadecimal to make your very own special custom color. Okay. And then we're going to write else. So if the interaction component ID, so the button ID, doesn't match the selected number. So else embed discord.embed title equals you lose a thought. And here I'll write another F string. Winning number was number for choice. Try again next time. And then of course color. And then now we're going to write once again a footer and URL. And now we actually, because these two statements are separate, we're going to include await ctx.send embed equals embed under both. So let's copy this. Okay, so let's stop this and write it again. Oh, sorry, my bot testing page just went to a different section. Let me just move this back into the tab. Okay, now we're here. And then now I'm going to type numbers. So indeed, our command is numbers. And then see there's 5 numbers here, so I'll press 2. And it says you lose, and the winning number was 4. So just to make sure this is random, it's 5. And it said the winning number was 5, so these two are different. So you do notice it says this interaction failed. However, that's not really an issue with the code. Yeah. And then I'm just going to go over a little review of buttons. So we have link buttons using the URL and also style 5. And we have function buttons using style 1 to 4 probably would be good, and no URL, but you can also add an ID. And just to note that these titles are unofficial because I thought it would be easier to understand if I labeled them that way. Now there are some extra features you can add. So I just want to add, using kind of just the packages that we have here, some extra feature you can add, which is the timer. So we're going to write another one at bot.command, parentheses, async define, and the word will be timer CTX. And then there's going to be one extra thing we're going to add here. So this could be helpful if you want to add kind of when people say, please send, for example, and then a certain amount of currency, right? That would be kind of using something like this. So we'll put asterisk arg, which stands for argument. Now we're going to write if not arg, because sometimes people don't actually include an argument at the end of their message. So right await XdHacks.send. Sorry, the value you give has to be an integer. We're just going to say integer so it's not super difficult. And then else. So basically, if there is an actual argument, this is what's going to happen. We're going to say try once again, number equals quotation dot join arg, because with arguments, they actually send as not a single string, which would be this text here, and it wouldn't be able to understand what that is. So we're just going to do this so that'll be a string. Then we'll write count equals int number. Message equals await XdHacks.send, and then another f string because I like using f strings. The timer will end in count seconds. So this count is actually the timing, which is the argument sent. As you can see here, it becomes count. And then now we're going to write timing equals true. And once again, make sure you use capital T. Now we're going to use while timing. So as long as the timing thing is true, wait async IO, which you might be familiar with from the timeout, 1. So we're going to tell the bot to just pause for 1 second in this specific code. And then we're going to write extra count minus equals. So this basically tells the bot to remove one number from the count variable. Basically, if it was 20, it would go down to 19. We'll write await message.edit. And then in here, we're going to include the same exact text. And then this is actually a loop. So as long as this occurs, we're going to keep looping and looping it. So it's going to go down every second. And then now we're going to write if count equals 0. So once the count is down and there's no more timing needed, await XdHacks.send. And then once again, another f string. And then we're going to actually mention the author so that they know that the time is up. XdHacks.author.mention, and then it's really rough on the outside. Time is up. And then we're also going to write one thing, which is key break, because if you don't include this break thing, your timer might actually continue going even after 0, which is not what we want. And then let's go out of this try. Make sure you're under the same line. We're actually going to write except value error. So if the bot couldn't turn the argument number into an integer, then this is what's going to happen. We're going to write the same text here. Sorry, the value we give has to be an integer. Yep. Okay, and that should be good. So let's press stop. 5 minutes again. Let's go back to our bot testing channel. And now I'm going to write timer. And you can see here, without any integer, this is what it tells me. If I put timer, hi, it also says it's not an integer, so it's confused. And then now if I give it an actual time, like 10, watch as it edits it every second. And you can see it added me to help me know that time is up, and it never did anything afterwards, which is what we want. So basically, this is kind of where we're going to be using loops and arguments, and that would be very helpful in the future if you want to make more complicated messages that require more input from the user. Okay, so just like what I said, let's open this. Some extra features you can add are a timer countdown using the async IO packages, which I already had you import. Web scraping using Beautiful Soup or other packages. So for that, you would have to import from VS4, import Beautiful Soup, and import requests. Multiple user games, these might require other packages, but not necessarily. And daily messages using task loop. So this would be from discord.ext, import commands, and tasks. So congratulations, you made your very first Discord bot. There is one big issue you may encounter with your Replit-powered bot. On Replit, bots do not always stay online, and this is because Replit is a huge site used by hundreds of people. So you can solve this by adding a little extra code. So let's go back to our REPL. And then now we're actually going to do something a little different. So you'll see here, there's this add file button, which has a plus sign, press plus, type in keep_alive.py. And in here, we're going to add some code to keep our bot running for a bit longer. So write from Flask, import Flask. And if you don't know, Flask is like a micro framework under Python. And then also from threading, import thread. So threads basically tell the REPL to run this code separately from our main code so it doesn't interrupt each other. Now enter. Now we're going to start writing app equals Flask and then quotations. Now we're going to type a function. So at app.root, single quotation slash, define home, and C is blank. And then now we're going to return I'm alive. Similarly to the print statement, this is what it's going to do. It's going to tell us I'm alive. So now we're going to write a host for the bot. So def run app.run host equals, and then single quotation terms again, 0.0.0.0. So you do not need a 0 at the end, a dot at the end. And then port equals 8080. Now let's go out of that. And then we're going to do the keep alive function. So this is the key to keep your bot running for a longer period of time. Define keep alive, colon. And then we're going to write T equals capital thread, target equals run, and then T start. So that should keep it working. Now let's go back to our main PY file and near the top, enter, add a new package. So from keep_alive, import keep. Okay, and now we'll go near here. So just press enter again. And above this, we're going to write keep_alive parentheses to run the keep alive function. So let's press stop. And let's press run. So it might download some packages for a little bit. And then once it's done, there will be a new kind of white section in our console, which is kind of an HTML style. And that will be kind of the notification that you are using Flask to power your thing. Let's just give it a minute. And you can see here, it says I'm alive in this kind of HTML format. And it still says I'm alive here. All right, so there is one issue with this Flask solution. The REPL will still turn off the bot if it isn't used by anyone in Discord for over an hour. The other option is to use a third-party site such as uptimerobot.com or use cloud hosting like Heroku, which is a quick, but this is a more quick fix for those who would rather stay in REPL and don't want to use too many different sites to connect to their bot. Okay, so just a little kind of review. I'm just going to show you guys how our official bot works. So you can see here, we have all of these commands. So why don't we try links? And like this, you press the resources page and you would go to all of our links. And then you go to FAQ and you have this very big embed using multiple fields. And we also have a different icon URL over here. And then if you scroll up, you can continue to see many other different commands. Okay, so let's go to presentation. And here, just take a little screenshot if you'd like to keep your bot alive. This is how it works. This is what you put in the keep alive file and in your main file. Okay, so looking ahead, you will find that these are just the basics of what you're going to uncover with your Discord bot, and there will be so much more to learn. So I will have a few works cited for you guys over here. And these are just the works I've cited, and these will be very helpful if you'd like to get more information regarding your Discord PY programming. Okay, so before we finish off, if you have any questions, do let us know in the chat right now, as we only have about 9 minutes left. And if you guys aren't able to send some at the end, that is completely fine. You can just send us in the Discord server.
Yeah, great workshop, Sam. Just waiting for any questions. I'll end the recording.